What's going on, nation? Today we're going to be targeting your legs. If you haven't signed up for my 12-week transformation challenge yet, make sure you click that link down in the info section below. So as you guys know, this workout program is focused on building size and strength. So we're going to start off with a heavy compound lift, going to really shock your central nervous system, and then we're going to go into the high volume portion of the workout. Make sure you pay attention to the sets and reps per exercise, as well as the rest periods, because they will change. Now let's go hit those squats. Let's kick off the routine with the barbell squat. We're doing 7, 7, 6, 4, 3 on this, and I want you guys to make sure you're sticking to those 2 to 3 minute rest periods. Take out your iPhones or your Androids or your stopwatches, whatever you need to do to precisely time your sets. If you've never done that before, you're going to be really surprised when that 2 to 3 minutes is up because it goes quick. As you guys can see, as we progress with the sets, I'm increasing my weight. And I'm also not using my belt just yet. You want to push yourself as hard as you can without a belt. And as you guys can see here, as I pull 315 off the rack, now I'm going to start using my belt for more support. Now, just because you have a belt on doesn't mean your form can falter. So keep that chest up, all the way down, all the way up, full range of motion on every single repetition. Now, the goal here is to add, 5 to 10 pounds per set and to work your way up so that when you get to those 3 repetitions on your last set, you're giving it everything you've got to get those 3 repetitions done. You want to really empty your tank because the goal here is to build strength over time, and you can't do that unless you're adding weight and pushing it. Now what I want you guys to do is take a 2 to 3 minute rest period, then you're going to do an AMRAP of squats, as many reps as you can, 20 to 30 reps without stopping. Now we're going to move on to the AMRAP. Now the AMRAP is an excellent time for you guys to test your muscle endurance, and because you just finished lifting heavy weight for the 7, 7, 6, 4, 3, after that 2 to 3 minute rest period, by the time you get to here, you're already going to be in a fatigued state. So I'd recommend starting off with a light weight. As you guys can see, I'm using 135 pounds. And you'll also notice that I'm keeping the reps consistent all the way down, all the way up. And you'll notice at the top of every single repetition, I'm flexing my glutes. Now I know it looks like I'm pushing my hips forward, but that's not what's happening. I'm pushing up to the top and I'm flexing my glutes and then going back down. This is an excellent time for you guys to work on mind-muscle connection, which is going to help you be stronger when you go back to lifting heavier weight the next time you do this exercise. So push through those heels, keep your core nice and tight, and make sure you're keeping your chest up on every single repetition. Give the AMRAP everything you've got. You don't want to leave anything on the table before you start the rest of the routine. For the next 2 exercises, you guys are going to be doing 4 sets per exercise, 8 to 10 repetitions per set, and you're only going to be able to rest 60 seconds between those sets. So make sure you stick to those time periods. They're very important for the intensity of this routine. Now the Barbell Glute Bridge is an exercise you don't see too many people do. And it's because they get embarrassed while doing it, and I have no idea why. You should never be embarrassed about doing an exercise that's going to work on your explosive strength through your hips. This exercise alone is going to help you skyrocket your squat and deadlift, so you have to make sure you do it. When you push through, when you get to the top, you want to hyperextend your hips as high as you can and squeeze those glutes. And remember guys, you're only taking a 60-second rest between sets, so get out those stopwatches. The next exercise is the stiff leg deadlift, and for this one I like to use wrist wraps mainly because the point of this exercise is to hit my hamstrings as hard as possible. If you're not using wrist wraps, and that's fine too, you're going to be relying on your grip strength to hold a barbell, and in my opinion, that takes away from the energy that you could be using to make sure that you're really targeting those hamstrings. Now, as you guys can see, this exercise is much more than just bending over. You're locking your legs so your knees are perfectly straight, there's no bend, and as you bring the bar down, you're actually pushing your hips backwards. That's what engages the hamstrings. If you don't push your hips back as you go down, you actually transfer the weight to your lower back instead of your hamstrings. So keep that in mind as you do this exercise. For the next 3 exercises, we're going to be changing things up a bit. You're still doing 8 to 10 repetitions, but you're going to bump the sets up from 4 to 5, and you're going to cut that rest period in half from 60 to 30. Next up is the seated leg extension. Now this is a great exercise for targeting your quads, but you have to make sure you're doing the full range of motion. Watch the weight stack. It's barely touching the top of the stack on every single repetition, and at the top of every rep, you want to flex your quads as hard as you can. Keep the reps consistent and keep those rest periods short. The next exercise is the prone leg curl. This is actually one of my favorite exercises to target your hamstrings. And you guys, make sure you adjust the pad. I notice a lot of people get on this machine and even the leg extension and they never adjust the pads. You want it to be just above your ankles so that you can get full range of motion and really squeeze your hamstrings at the top of the movement. All the way up, all the way down, don't use momentum, and really focus on squeezing those hamstrings and make sure you're keeping those rest periods to only 30 seconds. Like I said, guys, take out the timer, do what you have to do to make sure those rest periods are short. And for those of you who don't have a prone leg curl machine, you can use the seated leg curl as a substitute. It's still going to hit the hamstrings just as hard. It's just if I had a choice, I like to use the prone machine. The next exercise is the single leg dumbbell step-up, and you're doing 5 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions per side. And as you guys can see with this, the leg that's on top of the box, I'm trying to get it up as high as I possibly can. So if you don't have good flexibility, you might have to use a box that's a bit lower. But as you guys can see, you want to come up and then lift the opposite leg up in the air. And as far as weight that you use, I'm using 30-pound dumbbells here. Don't use weight that's so heavy that you're pushing off your toe to lift yourself in the air. You want to rely on the foot that's on the box. We're going to finish up today's routine by hitting your calves. We're keeping the same amount of sets, so 5 sets, but we're going to bump the rep range up to 20 reps per set, and you're only taking a 30-second rest period in between your sets. So we're going to finish up this routine by hitting the calves as hard as we can. First exercise is going to be the Barbell Calf Raise, and with this exercise, you're doing 20 repetitions. And as you guys like to see, as I go up on my toes as high as I can, I like to lift my toes at the bottom. Believe it or not, it actually does engage the calves a bit more, and you're going to notice a difference right away. The only thing that might be hard about this exercise is keeping your balance as you go up on each repetition. Now remember, for these last 2 exercises, you're only resting 30 seconds between every single set. Keep the rest period short because it's going to be crucial to getting a good calf workout. The whole point of calves is to work with a lot of volume, and that's why we bump the repetitions up to 20 reps per set. So make sure that if you're using weight that's too heavy, even if you progress through your sets and you notice you're not getting the full range of motion, I want you guys to stop and lower the weight and then continue doing your repetitions until you get all 20 and they're good sets. Because guys, you know what? The only way your calves are going to grow is if you hit them properly. That's it for today's leg routine. Now, if you haven't joined my 12-week transformation challenge yet, be sure to click the link down in the info section below. And for those of you who are kicking butt with this, make sure you're updating your body fat percentages, your weight, and also uploading those progress photos to your profiles on muscularstrength.com. See you guys next time. Go.